to the DE Silva family for the loss of their beloved father. According to the Buddhist tradition, we normally begin the service with paying homage to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, and taking the 5 precepts. Only the Buddhists are welcome to do this, but if you don't want to do it, just simply watch what we are doing. And then I'm going to give a short talk on life and death from the Buddhist point of view. Then we're going to perform Martika chanting in order to dedicate merit to the deceased. Then the family members will be called upon to present the set of robe in memory of the deceased. Then the monks will recite the stanza of impermanence, reflect on the truth of life. Then we can share merit by putting water of dedication after presenting donation in memory of the deceased. To pay final respect, we have some flower and also incense stick for those who would like to say goodbye to Mr. DE Silva. So in total, we're going to spend about 40 to 45 minutes. So now, as a Buddhist, only for Buddhists, you can say Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa, and then Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi, and then the 5 precepts. Okay, we can say it together. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Dhammang saranang gacchāmi, Sanghaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Tutiyampi Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Tutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchāmi, Tutiyampi Sanghaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchāmi, Tatiyampi Sanghaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Pāṇātiپātā Veramani Sikkhapadaṃ Samadhiyāmi. Atinnathāna Veramani Sikkhapadaṃ Samadhiyāmi. Kāmesu micchācārā Veramani Sikkhapadaṃ Samadhiyāmi. Musāvādā Veramani Sikkhapadaṃ Samadhiyāmi. Suramerayamacchapamatatthāna Veramani Sikkhapadaṃ Samadhiyāmi. So this is what we call the preliminary homage to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. And then taking 5 precepts is what we normally do before we perform any ceremony or services. And the 5 precepts are like the basic moral codes, but they are not like the rules that you are forced to follow or observe. And the 5 precepts are no killing, no stealing, no adultery, no telling lies, and no taking intoxication which may cloud the mind. And now I'm going to give a short talk on life and death from the Buddhist point of view. And for those who follow Buddhist teaching, they call themselves Buddhists. The word Buddha is right from the root bodhi, which means to know, to be awakened. From the Buddhist point of view, life has no beginning, but it has the end. You may wonder how this life begins, or how the whole universe begins. In fact, Buddhism is not actually interested in how the life begins, but we are more interested in how to live a good and meaningful life. So this is the reason why that the Buddha suggested his followers to focus on the present moment, try to live a good and meaningful life by applying the middle eightfold path: right understanding, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. And these are what we call the middle eightfold path. Anyone can apply the middle and front parts in their daily life. You are expected to live in peace, in harmony, and peacefully wherever you are. And Buddhist teaching can be classified into three levels. Training in morality, like to be a better person, we have an effort to be a better person, we can let go the bad habit, and then we can even try to improve the quality of the mind. We call it training in concentration. Try to keep your emotion in control, like a short temper. Last but not least, training in wisdom. This is the final state that will lead a person to liberate themselves from the cycle of birth and death. The final goal of Buddhism is to liberate ourselves from the cycle of birth and death, or to eradicate the cause of suffering. What is the cause of suffering? Craving, craving or tanha. So when a person was born, and we expect to have different kinds of suffering. We can't deny this. But in Buddhism, we simply say, well, suffering is a part of our life. We need to know how to deal with it. We don't need to run away from it, but learn how to understand and accept it and live with it accordingly. When the person dies, of course, as a human being, we can't help to feel grief. We can't help to cry because we are human beings. We still have emotional attachment. Although everyone knows very well that death is common for all, no one can escape from death. So in order to gradually accept this, the Buddha suggests his followers to apply the 5 remembrances to be recited on daily basis. What are they? You may say every day to yourself, I'm of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape going old. I'm of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I'm of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature to change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My actions are my only true belongings. I cannot escape the consequences of my action. My actions are the ground on which I stand. So these are what we call the 5 remembrances that you can recite on daily basis. And let me talk more about how we can cultivate merit. Throughout our life, we have a choice. You have a choice to be a good or a bad person, but it's not easy to define who is good, who is bad. In Buddhism, we simply say, as long as you have a good action, good speech, and good thought, you could be regarded as a good person. So we have 3 levels of cultivating goodness: sharing, being kind, being friendly, and then being a good person or observing the precept. And then the next one, mental development by improving the quality of your mind, dana, sila, and bhavana in Pali. Dana means giving, sharing, not only material thing, even if you have nothing to share, you can simply feel compassion towards other people. You can share your kindness, you can share your loving kindness. When a person dies, we believe that that person or the soul of that person will be born immediately. Only the body will decay. Name and frame will live on. What we could do during our lifetime is to be a good person so that our goodness and our frame may be remembered by everyone. So the reason why we are here today is to celebrate the life of Mr. DE Silva. So we will remember him in a good way, and he will be missed by everyone here. With what we have done together is called merit. So we can transfer this merit to Mr. DE Silva with the hope that he will be born in the good planet. Wherever he is, he will be happy and rest in peace. And now the 3 months will be performing Martika chanting in Pali language. We're going to do the chanting for about 15 minutes. What you could do, you can palm it together while listening to the chanting, or you can simply meditate while listening to the chanting in Pali language. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma
สัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะ
กุศลธรรมะ
อกุศลธรรมะอัพยากตาธรรมะสุขายเวทนายสัมปยุตตาธรรมะทุกขายเวทนายสัมปยุตตาธรรมะอทุกขมสุขายเวทนายสัมปยุตตาธรรมะวิปากาธรรมะวิปากธรรมะธรรมะเนววิปากนวิปากธรรมะธรรมะ
อุปาเท
นุปาทานิยาธรรมะอนุปาเทนุปาทานิยาธรรมะอนุปาเทนานุปาทานิยาธรรมะสังกิเลสสังกิเลสิกาธรรมะอสังกิเลสกิเลสิกาธรรมะอสังกิเลสสังกิเลสิกาธรรมะสวิตากสวิจาราธรรมะอวิตากวิจารมัตตาธรรมะอวิตากวิจาราธรรมะเปติสหคตาธรรมะสุขสหคตาธรรมะอุเปกขาสหคตาธรรมะนปหาตาภาธรรมะภาวนายปหาตาภาธรรมะเนวทัสสะเนนะนะภาวนายปหาตาภาธรรมะทัสสะเนนะปหาตาปะเหตุกาธรรมะ
ภาวนายปหา
ตาปะเหตุกาธรรมะเนวทัสสะเนนะนะภาวนายปหาตาปะเหตุกาธรรมะอาจยคามิโนธรรมะอปัจจยคามิโนธรรมะเนวะจยคามิโนนาปัจจยคามิโนธรรมะเสขาธรรมะเสขาธรรมะเนวะเสขานาเสขาธรรมะปริตตาธรรมะมหาคตาธรรมะอัปปมานาธรรมะ
ปริตารัม
มนาธรรมะมหาคตารัมมนาธรรมะอัปปมานารัมมนาธรรมะหินาธรรมะมัชฌิมาธรรมะปณิยตาธรรมะเมตตานิยตาธรรมะสัมมาตนิยตาธรรมะอนิยตาธรรมะมาคารัมมนาธรรมะมาคเยตุกาธรรมะมาคาธิปติโนธรรมะอุปันนาธรรมะอนุปันนาธรรมะอุปาทิโนธรรมะอติตาธรรมอนาคตาธรรมะปัจจุปันนาธรรมะอติตารัมมนาธรรมะอนาคตารัมมนาธรรมะ
ปัจจุปันนา
รัมมนาธรรมะอาชาตาธรรมะพหิทาธรรมะอาชาตพหิทาธรรมะอาชาตารัมมนาธรรมะพหิทารัมมนาธรรมะอาชาตพหิทารัมมนาธรรมะสนิทาสนสาปฏิฆาธรรมะอนิทาสนสาปฏิฆาธรรมะอนิทาสนาปฏิฆาธรรมะ
เหตุปัจจโย
อารัมมณปัจจโยอธิปติปัจจโยอนันตรปัจจโยสมนันตรปัจจโยสหชาตปัจจโยอัญญมัญญปัจจโยเนสยปัจจโยอุปเนสยปัจจโยปุเรชาตปัจจโยปัจฉาชาตปัจจโย
อาเสว
วนปัจจโยกัมมปัจจโยวิปากปัจจโยอาหารปัจจโยอินทรียปัจจโยชานะปัจจโยมัคคปัจจโยสัมปโยตปัจจโยวิปโยตปัจจโยอาทิปัจจโยนาทิปัจจโยวิคตปัจจโยอวิคตปัจจโย put on top of the coffin.
On top of the coffin. You make a
Even
wish.
on that side also. Yeah.
Make a wish. Then place a sort of water coffin.
Yeah. Place it on top. And then move back a little bit.
Yeah, facing the coffin. Yeah.
มาทิ้งมาด้วยกันฝั่งนี้
ไปฝั่งนี้เลย So now the monk are going to perform that stanza on permanent. So we're going to decide on the level on the meaning of this stanza later on. Hand it over. Hand it over. Send your good wishes. อานิจจา
โนตัสสังขาราอุปาทวยธรรมิโนอุปาชิตวานิรุชันติเตสังบุปสมโมสุโขอานิจจาวตสังขาราอุปาทวยธรรมิโนอุปาชิตวานิรุชันติเตสังบุปสมโมสุโขอานิจจาวตสังขาราอุปาทวยธรรมิโนอุปาชิตวานิรุชันติเตสังบุปสมโมสุโข
When the monk finishes, we can offer donation now. Yeah, only three. Yeah, please come only three. You can come to make a wish. Make a wish. Thank you. The stanza that the monk have just recited is what we call Pangsagula funeral chant. It begins with the Pali word Anicca Vada Sankhara Upada Vayadamino Pachitavan Ruchanti Te Sangbu Pasamo Sukho. This stanza is repeatedly spoken by the Buddha or even by the monks at the funeral. It was also spoken by the intrigard immediately after the Buddha's death, just to reflect that even the Buddha himself could not escape from death. The Pali chanting can be translated into English as follows. Conditions truly they are transient, with the nature to arise and cease. Having arisen, then they pass away. The calming, cessation, happiness, all kinds of beings surely come to death. They have always died. We always die. In the same way, I shall surely die. Doubt about this does not exist in me. So this stanza simply remind everyone that no one can escape from death. Today is his turn. In the future, it will be our turn. What we could do to live a meaningful life, not to be careless, but to be more careful. Now we're going to perform the final blessing of appreciation. We call it sharing merit, and then the family can pour water of dedication. You're welcome to join us by sending our good wishes or sharing merit to Mr. DE Silva in whatever way you feel comfortable with. Okay, perhaps mom, you can. Everyone can touch hand.
การยืนตรงนี้ให้พร
ให้พรนะครับให้พร
ยืนตรงนี้
ได้
เอาหัวมาเทมา
So you can touch hand.
You can all touch each other's shoulders and connect to the person at the front. And then,
We're going to start chanting forward. Slowly. Yeah, thank you. Remember here.
มันจะตรงไหน
ยะถาวาริวหาปูราปริปูเรนติสาคารังเอวะเมวะอิโตทินังเปตานังอุปกปปติ อิชิตังปฏิตังตุมหังกิปะเมวะสเมจตุสัพเพปุเรนโตสังกปานจันโทปนารโสยะถามณิโชติระโสยะถา
สัพพิติโยวิวาจันตุสาภโรโควินาสตุมาเตภวัตวันตรายโยสุขิธิขายุโกภวะอภิวาทันสีเลสเนจังวุธาปจายโนจัตตารโอธรรมาวัฏันติอายุวันโนสุขังภะลังยัญญโคทาคินาทินาสังฆมหิสุปฏิทิตาทิคารตังหิตายาสถานโสอุปกาปฏิโสยาติธรรมโมจะยังนิทาสิโตเปตานปุชาจักตาอุราลาภลันจะภิกขุนมโนปทินนังตุมเหหิปุญญังปัสสุตังอนาปกันติภวตุสาภมังคลังราคันตุสาภเทวตาสาภพุทธานุภาเวนะสัทธาโสทิภวันตุเตภวตุสาภมังคลังราคันตุสาภเทวตาสาภธรรมานุภาเวนะสัทธาโสทิภวันตุเตภวตุสาภมังคลังราคันตุสาภเทวตาสาภสังฆานุภาเวนะสัทธาโสทิภาวันตุเต
I think now we're going to have the grandchildren contribution. Yeah, you can come up now.
Unfortunately, my brother couldn't be here, so I'd like to share some words on his behalf. Sia, it's one of my main inspirations in life, as you overcame all odds to become an international cricket player. I'll never forget the story you told me of how you used to practice on your own with wet balls, and I'm grateful for the attitude that you embedded in me, as well as the work ethic. Living in London, you used to come to all my county games when I was younger, and that's a sacrifice I will always be grateful for, even though I was terrified when you used to watch me play. But in reality, when I used to get told off in the car for inevitably playing a bad shot or getting my field wrong, you would always step in and cut me some slack, so thank you for that. Although you're an extremely disciplined and professional man, you still used to hide jokers under the table every time we played cards, which is why I did too, but I never got caught, unlike you. You never liked the cold, as you always wanted a hot water bottle in the winter, so I hope you are somewhere where it is always warm with a Chinese takeaway close by. I wish I could be there now to say these words in person. Words cannot express how much you have done for me in my life, and I will continue to maintain the attitude you made sure I had, and will do my utmost best to become a professional cricketer like you always believed I could. You can raise your bat now after a long and inspiring innings. I will always love you. Thank you for everything. And now just a few words from myself and Coco. Dear Sia, the most disciplined and respected person I know, and the cricketer with the astounding throw. I'll keep the memories close of playing cards day and night, and over the last few years where you never gave up without a fight. I'll never forget going to your office at the cricket ground and eating fab chocolate cake. I most definitely left there with a bellyache. Visiting you in Poland and seeing your mansion flat is one of my favourite trips, and all the times playing poker where you would steal all my chips. You taught me how to be ambitious and to never give up on my dreams, and overhearing all the cricket lounges where you told Dinnock to always grip the seam. The smell of baby cream will now become so much more nostalgic, and putting up the Christmas tree and lights for you this year truly felt so magic. Holding your hand so tight every weekend meant everything to me. That will now always be a memory. I know you always wanted me to become a doctor so I could look after you one day, but your wife and sons looked after you so dearly until the very last moments where you lay. I hope you find a ball up there to throw, and remember to look down on us below. You always used to say diamonds are forever, and now you will stay on in our hearts through every endeavour. Bye, Sia will always love you.
So next we're going to hear eulogy from someone. Can you please come up here?
It has been a privilege to know DE Silva for nearly 20 years, as his youngest son Dilshan is a close friend to my brother Miles, and over time became one to myself too. To us, he was never just a great cricketer or a public figure. He was simply Uncle DS, someone the boys were very scared of running into when they got back to Dilshan's house after a night out on the town. He was a man of discipline, warmth, sharp humour, and an unwavering belief in potential. Born in a village down south in Gaul, Uncle was the youngest of 6 brothers and 1 sister. All his brothers were excellent sportsmen, and he often spoke fondly of watching them play cricket on roads, fields, and even inside the house using improvised bats made from coconut branches. After a brief time at Bonavista College in Gaul, Uncle moved to the Prince of Wales College in Moratuwa. From there, he played for Nomads Cricket Club, a club that was founded by his brother DH with the purpose of opening doors for talented players from less privileged backgrounds. Under the guidance of Stanley Jayasinghe, he transformed himself into a formidable leg spinner. Uncle would say he took to leg spin like a duck to water, but he never let anyone forget the hard work that was behind it. He would spend 5 hours a day at the nets, using a simple handkerchief as a marker, practicing again and again and again. In 1974, he was named Observer Sportsman of the Year and was part of Sri Lanka's first ever World Cup team in 1975. And that same year, making his debut in Sri Lanka's first ODI, he took 4 wickets, the most by any spin bowler. He was also scouted in the UK and went on to play in the Minor Counties League for both Lincolnshire and Shropshire. At the age of nearly 41, he played alongside legends such as Roy Diaz, Siddharth Vetimani, Dulip Mendis, and a young Arjuna Ranatunga in Sri Lanka's inaugural Test match against England in 1982. He captained Sri Lanka in ODIs and Tests, becoming the oldest international captain in world cricket, dismissing greats like Zahir Abbas and Sir Vivian Richards along the way. Uncle then segued from international cricket to club cricket with a 5-year stint in Melbourne, after which he took retirement from playing. However, he continued to give back to the game. Having been asked to revive an ailing Bloomfield, not only did he turn the club around, mentoring players such as Sanath Jayasuriya, Roshan Mahanama, Kumar Dharamsena, he also coached the under-19 national team to a historic runners-up finish in a Youth World Cup final. As I myself now have moved into sports management and development, I miss Uncle a lot and his brain. I really understand now the challenges he must have faced and the strength he showed in going from player to coach to administrator. As chairman of Sri Lanka Cricket and as presidential advisor for schools cricket, he continued his family's commitment to supporting young and disadvantaged players and for developing the game well beyond Colombo. During his tenure, during difficult times for the country, he helped lay foundations for school cricket in Jaffna and for multiple world-class stadiums around Sri Lanka. He strongly went against the grain at the time and vehemently believed that infrastructure investments had to be made, not for his generation, but selflessly, long-term, for those still to come. The impact of that vision that he had will only be felt and understood in the future, long after even we have gone. His service to his country went beyond cricket. He later served as Sri Lanka's ambassador to Poland, representing his country with pride and dignity, and often saying that perhaps one day he should teach the Polish nation cricket, certain that they would love it as much as he did. It also must be noted that between his major achievements, whilst in Australia and in England, he worked tirelessly to support his family. Like many immigrants of his generation, there was no job too big or too small. Hard work, responsibility, and discipline were just simply part of who he was. Uncle also navigated the challenges of a blended family with care, encouragement, and strong values. He was a proud father to his 3 sons, Niroshan, Rukshan, and Dilshan. All 3 of his sons played cricket. He was so proud of them, though he had hoped he would produce an international cricketer from them. My brother and I were privileged to witness the bond he shared with Dilshan over the past 20 years, as he made Putney his home, and he made Dilshan, and he watched Dilshan, probably did make Dilshan too, play for Wimbledon. When Dilshan made the decision to leave the city and leave a good city career to continue Uncle's legacy as a cricket coach at Wimbledon Cricket Club, he was supportive of the move. Dilshan, later achieving level 3 coaching status from the English Cricket Board, was also a source of immense pride for him. Uncle was such a proud grandfather, and coming from a family with so many boys, he loved all the girls in his family so much. In particular, he was fond of his granddaughters, Aisha and Emiko. But his last project and joy came from seeing his grandson Dinuk showing promise in cricket. He took delight at watching him play and going for all his matches. It was another generation inspired by the game that he loved. Even in his later years, Uncle remained connected to cricket, offering coaching trips, taking part in walking cricket for seniors, and surrounded by the warmth and support of the Wimbledon cricket community. But at the centre of his life was Auntie Sharmini. Their love was steady, loyal, and deeply rooted. Over the last 8 years, as Uncle bravely lived with his diagnosis, Auntie's devotion was extraordinary to witness. Day in and day out, she cared for him with patience, dignity, and fierce love, sometimes much to Dilshan's frustration, even at the expense of her own health. It was love in its truest form. It was quiet, constant, and unwavering. When Uncle was first diagnosed, I worried, as Dilshan's friend, about how prepared Dilshan would need to be for the day Uncle might not recognise him. That day never came. Even as illness took so much over the years, Uncle never forgot his family. He never forgot his boys. He never forgot Dilshan, and he never forgot Auntie. Their bond endured to the very end. The last time I saw him, he told me, "I'm a cricketer, you know. I'm a spinner. I'm going for practice." Even as his illness tried to take and blur his memories, cricket and family fought their way through. They were just too deeply embedded in his soul to be erased. And the essence of Uncle DS never left him. He never stopped seeing potential in people. A few years ago, on Christmas Eve, Uncle and Auntie sat on our porch chatting with my brother Miles. Later, he said to Auntie, "That Miles is a handsome bugger. How does he not have a girlfriend or wife?" It was classic Uncle DS, observant, direct, but affectionate. But what stayed with me most was something he said to me that same night. I came out with his tea and he looked at me with that familiar twinkle in his eye and he said, "Irene, if Dilshan gives me his career, even now I can still make him into a world-class spinner." Dilshan was 35 at the time, well past his prime. But that was Uncle. What mattered was belief, effort, discipline. He was a coach to his very last days, and anything could be achieved with hard work. Sitting on his side table in his living room is a symbol of this. Sorry, Auntie, I stole this from your house. This is a kadara ball. It's a fruit from the kadara tree that grows in Sri Lanka. Uncle used this when he was first learning to play cricket. He played with it on beaches and railway tracks, far from stadiums or with fancy equipment, from something so simple, given by nature, but out of it, with a lot of hard work, grew a world-class cricketer and an icon of Sri Lanka. Uncle is a reminder that greatness can come from humble beginnings, from hard work, and from a great love for what you do. He was deeply spiritual, and it was fitting that he passed away peacefully just minutes after his priest came to see him. He had spoken about reaching his and Auntie's 40th wedding anniversary. He promised he would be there, and he was. They marked 40 years of love, partnership, and loyalty, and then quietly and peacefully, he passed away the very next day, with her by his side. Many of us feel and believe that he waited for that moment, that his final act of discipline and devotion was simply to stay long enough to keep his word and do things his way. Today we grieve, but today we also give thanks for a life that was built on hard work, service, and following your dreams, for a man who never gave up, for a brother, husband, father, grandfather, but also for a mentor and a servant to his country. Uncle DS played a show-stopping innings, and whether you witnessed part of it or all of it, you couldn't help but be inspired. Rest in peace, Uncle. We love you.
Dandeniege Somachandra de Silva, fondly known as DS, Sonny, Dad, or as we lovingly called him, Tati. One of my earliest memories goes back to Birmingham. My younger brother Rookie, only about 3 years old, smacked me across the face with a plastic cricket bat, giving me a nosebleed. Tati arrived, assessed the situation, and delivered a firm, no-nonsense lecture to Rookie in typical DS style. In 1989, during 1989-90 winter period, before starting university, I took a year out to pursue cricket. Tati was living in Australia, so he asked me to join him in Melbourne. Those 6 months with Tati, Sharmini Auntie, Dilly, were relentless. It was a life as a professional cricketer, training 6 to 8 hours a day, Monday to Friday. Tati was a taskmaster, military style. It was his way or the highway. At the end of those 6 months, we sat quietly on the veranda and reflected. The following summer, I played my best cricket and signed a 2-year professional contract with Leicestershire. Thank you, Tati. Tati also helped my son Dinuk tremendously during his younger years, particularly, as my daughter Aisha explained. He helped coach, advise, and mentor him. His passion, encouragement, and willingness to support him was unquestionable. That was my father, someone who could identify talent, demand excellence, and instill discipline, commitment, and work ethic, not just in me or my 2 brothers, but in so many, many cricketers. Thank you, Tati, for your love, belief, and support. Tati, away from cricket, was a very kind, loving, sincere, thoughtful, humble human being. He was charitable and very generous too. He tended to be quiet around people he didn't know very well. He was a critical thinker and analysed things very deeply. He loved playing cards with his 3 sons, The games were very competitive. The competitiveness was instilled in all three of us, and even the grandchildren when they could play too. I would also like to express our deepest gratitude to Shamini Aunty. The care, the devotion, and unwavering love she showed Tati, particularly over these past few years, were truly extraordinary and deeply appreciated by our family. People often use the word legend too loosely, I believe. Our Tati DS gave over 40 years of service to international cricket from 1971 to 2011 as a player, captain, coach, cricket advisor to the president, chairman of the Sri Lankan Cricket Board, and ambassador of Sri Lanka. He won the Sri Lankan Sports Personality of the Year award in 1975 and played in the first 3 World Cup tournaments in 1975, 79 and 1983, which very few international cricketers achieve in their careers. To me and my brothers, Tati was and always will be a true legend. Thank you on behalf of Rookie, Dilly and myself.
So thank you. And now we're going to see the slideshow. And could you please stand up while we see the slideshow? The slideshow, please.
Gone. Must be gone. Not just a clipboard has pad. Australia 3 down. Silva to Wood. Oh, well bowled. It's going to be close. It's going to be a run out. He's going to go. Yes, he's gone. LBW. Santai. Put. Kick it, bang in there. Bang in there. Bang in there. You mentioned that. คนอินเดียชอบเล่นคริกเก็ต